If you just glanced at the charts this week, you might have thought, pretty quiet. Bitcoin and Ethereum prices. Kind of flat, almost sleepy, right? But just beneath that calm surface, a massive shift is happening. I'm talking a real tectonic shift. The world of crypto is colliding head-on with traditional finance. And believe me, the walls between them are starting to crumble faster than ever. So all of this really begs the big question, right? Is crypto finally growing up? I mean, think about it. It's moving out of those niche, kind of nerdy corners of the internet and straight into things you use every day, like your bank, your retirement fund, maybe even your mortgage. So in this explainer, we're going to connect the dots on some huge news stories that show exactly how this mainstream takeover is happening right now.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the big dogs on Wall Street. Then we'll look at how your own bank is jumping in. From there, we'll dive into how real-world stuff is going digital, how governments are scrambling to make new rules, and then, the most important part, what all this actually means for you. Because trust me, these aren't just random headlines. They're all pieces of the same giant puzzle.
Okay, let's kick things off with Wall Street, where the institutions are finally arriving. For years, the big question was always, will the big money ever really get into crypto? Well, folks, they're not just dipping their toes in anymore, they are cannonballing into the deep end. I mean, just look at the players making moves. The scale here it's just staggering. First, you've got massive amounts of money flowing back into the spot Bitcoin ETFs from absolute giants like BlackRock and Fidelity. That's a huge vote of confidence from the establishment. Then, you have this brand new crypto company, 21 Capital, or XII, popping up with backing from other behemoths like Tether, Bitfinex, and SoftBank. And get this, the person they tap to be CEO is Jack Mallers, the founder of Strike. We're talking a real OG in the Bitcoin world. This is top-tier talent and serious capital all flooding into the space. It sends a very, very clear message. But, and this is a really important reality check, just because Wall Street is here, it doesn't mean the risk has just vanished. Not at all. Take a look at the IPO for that same company, 21 Capital. The hype was huge, right? One of the biggest crypto IPOs of the year. But the reality? The stock tanked, dropping about 20% in the first 24 hours. It's a perfect example that even with all the big backers and fancy suits, crypto is still going to be crypto. That volatility, oh yeah, it is still very, very real. All right, so that's Wall Street. But let's bring it closer to home because this isn't just happening in fancy skyscrapers. This trend is moving from Wall Street to Main Street, and it's about to show up right inside your bank. Just look at this number, 12 million. That is how many bank customers in France are about to get direct access to crypto. And I'm not talking about some little fintech app. We're talking about buying and selling crypto right from their normal everyday banking app. This is a huge established banking group. It's a massive deal. And check this out. This isn't some far-off promise for the future. It's happening right now. The French banking group BPCE is rolling this out as we speak. We're talking about their customers being able to buy and sell Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, you name it, directly in their banking app, like as easily as you check your account balance. They're starting with 2 million people right away and plan to get all 12 million of their users on board by 2026. This is how crypto starts to feel, well, normal. Just another part of your financial life. So we've got Wall Street and we've got Main Street. The next logical step, connecting all this digital stuff to the real physical world. We're talking about taking things you can actually touch, or at least things that represent tangible assets, like a house, and bringing them onto the blockchain. The magic word for all this is tokenization. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Think of it like this. You have a real-world asset, say a house. Tokenization is basically creating a secure digital twin of that house's deed on a blockchain. This digital token represents ownership. And the cool part? That token can be traded or even split into 1,000 tiny pieces and sold way, way easier than trying to chop up a physical house deed. And again, this isn't just some sci-fi theory. It is happening. Check this out. A digital mortgage provider called Zippy is teaming up with a blockchain company called ETHZilla. The plan is super straightforward. Step 1, Zippy creates home loans. Step 2, ETHZilla takes those loans and turns them into digital tokens on the blockchain. And step 3, they can sell those tokens to investors. Just imagine, one day you could own a tiny slice of 100 different mortgages, all represented as tokens sitting right in your digital wallet. Pretty wild, right? Okay, so let's recap. You've got Wall Street jumping in, you've got your bank getting involved, and now even mortgages are going on chain. When all of that happens, there's one group you know is going to take notice: the government. And all this activity means they are finally getting serious about writing the new rules of money.
And listen, they are not messing around. There's a real sense of urgency here. You've got U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, who's been a huge proponent of clear crypto regulations, basically saying we need to get this done now. This quote right here, it perfectly sums up the vibe in Washington. The time for just watching and waiting is officially over. So who's shaping this future? Well, it's happening at the absolute highest levels. In the U.S. Congress, you've got Senator Lummis and others pushing for their big bill to create clear rules for the crypto market. At the very same time, the White House is getting ready to pick the next chair of the Federal Reserve, the person who basically controls the U.S. money supply. And you'll never guess who's on the short list. A top executive from BlackRock. If that doesn't show you how much the lines are blurring between crypto, big finance, and government, I don't know what will.
Phew, okay. So we've covered a ton of ground, right? Wall Street, Main Street banks, tokenizing real-world stuff, regulators. So let's bring it all together. What does this whole mainstream takeover actually mean for you? That's the big takeaway. Well, it's a classic case of two sides of the same coin. On the one hand, the opportunities are absolutely massive. We're talking about way easier access. You can just buy crypto from your bank. And cool new innovations like owning a piece of a loan. Plus, all that big institutional money could, in the long run, bring a bit more stability to the market. But you have to look at the other side. The risks are just as real. That IPO we talked about is proof that wild price swings aren't going anywhere. The new rules of the game, they're literally still being written as we speak. And of course, more activity means more bad actors trying to get your stuff, so security for your own wallet is more important than ever. So if there's one key lesson to take from all this, it's this. Staying informed is more important than it has ever been. Seriously, this new world is being built piece by piece, right in front of our eyes. It feels like the ground is literally shifting under our feet. This isn't about reaching some destination. It's about being part of the journey. And all of this leaves us with one final huge question to think about. For so long, there's been this massive, solid wall separating traditional finance from the world of crypto. Well, that wall is coming down. It's crumbling. So the real question isn't if it's going to fall. It's what are we all going to build in its place? This whole transformation is honestly one of the biggest stories happening right now. If you want to keep exploring these journeys and making sense of it all with us, be sure to check out our other insights and stories right here on the CryptoVoyage channel. Thanks for joining me.